The forbidden well of Nimba. That well is cursed. Keep away. For generations, the elders of Nimba repeated the warning until it lived in the bones of the people. On the village's far edge, under a wind-gnawed baobab, yawned a stone-ringed mouth that no one touched. Old Whisper said its waters belonged to the wronged and the restless. Anyone who fetched them would wake the anger of spirits better left dreaming. But the sun had been cruel. For 7 moons, no rain touched the clay. The earth cracked like fired pots. Yambans turned to dust, and the streambeds became pale scars. Children coughed from thirst, goats bleated thinly in their pens. Mothers drifted compound to compound with loosened wrappers, offering woven mats and brass bracelets for a single god of water that never came. Inside a low-walled hut near the millet fields, Zola, 15 and already too thin, sat outside in the dust. Her lips were split, her tongue felt like a stone. Her younger brother, Tono, hacked dry and slept in jerks that worried their mother, Abeni, who fanned him with a palm frond as if a breeze could be woven from love. "Mama," Zola whispered, "there is still water in the forbidden well." Abeni's eyes jumped to the doorway and then to the baobab's shadow, as if the tree itself had ears. "Hush, child. That water is not for the living. Tono will die if he does not drink." Their father, Keto, stepped in, shoulders bowed by another fruitless day searching for green. He sank onto the reed mat and let silence speak for him. When he finally found his voice, it was cracked. "The last millet is gone. The streams are bones. What do the elders wish? That we watch our children die and call it obedience?" Abeni flinched. "Do not speak against the council." Keto's jaw set. "If the gods must punish someone, let them find me. Tonight I will fetch water from that well. My children will not die of thirst while I live." Zola's heart thudded, a drumbeat of fear and something else, an old, strange pull toward the stone mouth under the baobab. On moonless nights she had thought she saw shapes glide there, but she had never dared go near. That night, when Nimba slept, Keto took a clay pot and a length of rope. Zola followed at a distance, her feet silent in the dust. The well crouched in the baobab's shadow, its stones slick with moss, its mouth a circle of night. The crickets sang, but the air felt thick and listening. Keto tied the rope to the pot, lowered it, and the darkness answered with a low, many-throated hum, voices murmuring in time, like a river of people far underground. The pot returned brimming. The water shivered under moonlight as if it remembered movement. "Papa, it isn't ordinary," Zola said. Keto lifted the pot and drank. His breath steadied, his eyes brightened with relief he refused to question. He handed it to Zola. "Drink, my daughter." The water was cool and sweet, too sweet. It slid down her throat like shade in heat. Then something stirred inside her, as if a second breath had taken up room in her chest. She dropped the pot, gasping. "What is it?" Keto reached for her, but before Zola could answer, a thin voice, not hers, threaded the air. "Zola." Her blood went cold. The well had chosen her. The voices. Morning broke brittle. Harmattan dust sat on every tongue. Children whimpered, even the goats sounded tired of living. Zola had not slept. She lay awake, ears echoing with whispers only she could hear. They rose and fell like chanting. When she shut her eyes, she saw shadowed figures circling the well, hands stained a dark gloss. Abeni touched her forehead. "Why do you stare like one who has wandered from herself?" "They are calling me," Zola murmured. "Who?" "The ones inside the well." Abeni slapped her lightly, fear quick in the motion. "Do not bring that speech into this house." Keto said nothing, troubled. He had drunk too, but felt nothing except a clean coolness in his chest and a grief he could name. By afternoon, Tono begged for water. Keto poured from the hidden pot. The boy drank, then fell into a deep, even sleep, breathing better than he had in weeks. Relief softened Abeni's face, a small joy pushed briefly against the drought. But the voices in Zola's head grew louder. At first they only called her name. Then they began to command. "Return. Return to the well. Bring the others." Zola pressed her palms to her ears until they ached. By evening, neighbors had noticed that Kato's family looked less parched, their lips less cracked. Amaya, a woman with twins, stopped Ebony by the gate. "Where did Kato find water? My babies are fading. Sister, please." Ebony denied again. But in the night, 2 men followed Kato through the scrub and saw him disappear beneath the baobab's shadow. By dawn, the news had reached the elders. The village square filled, fear, anger, and thirst pushing people shoulder to shoulder. "The well is cursed," said Elder Mbeki, back bent, eyes bright. "We buried the truth long ago. Has the village forgotten our covenant?" "He has awakened what must never wake," others muttered. Kato stood with Zola's hand in his. "I fetched water because my children were dying. What good are laws that require us to bury the living?" Murmurs. Mbeki struck his staff on the ground. "You have brought doom. Did your daughter not hear the whispers?" Eyes turned to Zola. The voices inside her swelled, pushing through. "They call me every night," she said, shaking. "They say the well was sealed because of blood, and that the elders know the truth." Silence fell like a cloth. Elder faces flickered. "What truth?" someone shouted. "What are you hiding?" Silence. Mbeki raised his staff. "The spirit stained this child's tongue. She must be cleansed at the shrine." Men seized Zola. Ebony cried out, Tono woke crying, and Kato fought until 3 men held him by the arms. Bound before the shrine of Mawo, the Earth Mother, Zola stopped resisting. She let the voices roll through her like tide. Images struck, a circle of men with torches by the well. Long ago, women and children pushed into the dark, chants to seal the stone mouth. She knew some faces. They were the grandfathers of the elders who judged her now. "Tell them," the voices urged. "Expose them. Free us." The well, she realized, was not drowned by gods. It was drowned by men. The shrine fire snapped and roared, shadows twisting on the walls. Elders sat in a circle. Mbeki leaned on his staff. "The child is no longer herself. The spirits ride her. We must cleanse her or she will bring ruin." Zola lifted her head. Her eyes seemed lit from within. When she spoke, her voice carried more than one throat. "It is not I who bring ruin. Your hands are red." Murmurs rose, Elder Damba backed, "She is bewitched. Spirits lie." But Mbeki's jaw trembled. He had been a boy when his father and the council sealed the well. They had said sacrifice would save the village from famine. He had believed, then had spent a lifetime not believing. Zola's words rang on. The dead will not rest until the truth is spoken and justice is done. A wind burst through the door. People outside screamed. Shadows swam across the roof as the fire leaped. Kato tore free and rushed in. "Leave my daughter." He shielded Zola with his body. "Fool," Damba spat. "Can't you see? If she speaks further, the village will turn on us." Zola's bonds snapped like cut grass. She rose, trembling but upright, and walked to the doorway without anyone daring to touch her. "Take us home," the voices breathed. "Take us to the well." The crowd followed at a distance as Zola crossed Nimba, feet bare, wrapper trailing in dust, Ebony and Kato stumbling behind, love and fear twined like rope. At the forbidden well, the air cooled. The baobab's leaves shivered though no wind blew. Zola stopped and lifted her hands. "Here lies the truth. Here lie the bones of the innocent. Until their cries are answered, Nimba will know no peace." A wail rose from the well, piercing and full of centuries. The ground trembled. A red froth bubbled up and spilled over the stones. People fell to their knees. Mbeki dropped his staff. "It is true," he whispered. "We buried it and called it safety. But the dead do not forget." Zola swayed. Kato caught her as she sagged. Her voice thinned to a thread. "This is only the beginning. Tomorrow, the well will claim what belongs to it." That night no one slept. Fires burned, prayers tangled with arguments. Some wanted to flee, others to throw stones at the shrine, others to bind Zola again. The baobab's shadow sat like a judge. At midnight, the village gong boomed. The council called everyone to the square. Mbekki's face was grey. People of Nimba, he said, what was buried is walking. Our fathers made sacrifices, believing they saved us. They cursed us. The dead demand justice. Cries answered him, grief, fury, betrayal. Zola, carried by Keto, made her voice cut through the noise. They do not want your rage. They want your truth. They want the guilty to pay. The earth shivered. A red mist rose from the well, thick as smoke, drifting like a slow river. In it, shapes formed, women with woven hair, children with wide eyes, men with hands lifted in pleading. The sound of their mourning pierced every heart. The mist did not touch the crowd. It drifted to the elders. Mbekki collapsed to his knees. Forgive me. I watched and did not stop them. The mist circled the council. Elder Damba clutched his chest and fell, life gone in a gasp. Elder Kintu stumbled back as the mist wound around his legs and drew him, screaming, toward the well's mouth. One by one, the guilty were taken, some heart-stopping of fear, some pulled into the dark, their voices fading like drums at a far festival. The mist rose around Mbekki. It lifted him gently and set him down not dead, but broken, with shame enough to last a lifetime. Then the spirits turned to the people. Zola shook as the chorus used her voice one last time. The truth has been spoken. Justice has been served. Remember, the land remembers blood. Keep it pure, or the curse returns. The mist sank back into the well. The air cleared. Torches guttered, then steadied. Nimba stood very still. At dawn, rain came, fat, insistent drops that poked the dust and then roared from the sky. It filled old streambeds and hammered roofs. People laughed and sobbed under it, faces turned upward like sunflowers. But each person who passed the well looked down and hurried. The water inside was once more clear. No one touched it again. After the rain. In the weeks that followed, Nimba sealed the well with stone and ironwood, not out of superstition but out of remembrance. Under the baobab, they raised a low wall ring with carved names, mothers, daughters, sons. Where names were lost, they carved, we still remember you. Mbekki, hollow with grief, resigned and spent his mornings at the memorial, answering questions from children with the only gift he had left, truth. He told them what fear can make people do, and what courage must. Keto returned to the fields, but his steps took him past the wall each evening. Abene organized the women to watch the council openly from then on, meetings held under the sun, decisions written and repeated aloud. Amaya and the mothers created a circle to keep record of births, deaths, stores of grain, and the names of the vulnerable, so that no one would be forgotten when the next hard season came. Zola lived quietly, the village now calling her Bridge of Voices. Some people bowed when she passed, others only stared and made the sign warding off fear. The rain fattened the yams and greened the edges of the world, but a shadow of memory stayed with Nimba, honest as a scar. Because the earth does not forget blood. And neither should those who walk on it. Moral lessons, made explicit. 1. Truth outlives secrecy, buried wrongs ferment, they rise, sometimes as drought, sometimes as voices. Confession is cheaper than catastrophe. 2. No law above life, when rules force the innocent to die, those rules are idols. Compassion must sit higher than custom. 3. Collective guilt, collective repair, the elders sinned, but the village had to rebuild together, memorials, records, and transparent councils are part of justice.